Chapter 1: The Arrival. My name is Emily Parker, and I've always been drawn to the mysteries of the supernatural. So, when rumors of a haunted mansion hidden deep in the woods reached my ears, I couldn't resist the pull of curiosity. Little did I know that my quest for answers would lead me into the heart of darkness itself. The forest around me was alive with the sounds of the night, a cacophony of rustling leaves and chirping insects that seemed to whisper secrets in the darkness. The moon hung low in the sky, its feeble light struggling to penetrate the thick canopy of trees that surrounded me. The mansion, a looming silhouette against the night sky, seemed to beckon me closer with each step I took. As I approached the front door, a chill wind swept through the air, sending shivers down my spine. I hesitated for just a moment, my hand hovering over the doorknob, before summoning the courage to push it open. The hinges groaned in protest, and I stepped into the darkness beyond, my heart pounding in my chest. The foyer was grand and imposing, with towering columns and a sweeping staircase that seemed to lead up into the very heavens themselves. Dust motes danced in the air, illuminated by the faint glow of moonlight filtering in through the stained glass windows. But despite the grandeur of the surroundings, there was an undeniable sense of decay and neglect that hung heavy in the air, as if the mansion itself were alive with some unseen malaise. As I wandered deeper into the mansion, the air grew colder, and the shadows seemed to lengthen with each passing moment. Every creak and groan of the old house sent shivers down my spine, and I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. But I pressed on, my curiosity driving me forward into the heart of darkness. Chapter 2: The Encounter. I wandered through the mansion's labyrinthine corridors, my footsteps echoing off the walls like the whispers of unseen spirits. Every shadow seemed to conceal some malevolent presence, and I found myself constantly looking over my shoulder, my heart pounding in my chest. The air was thick with the scent of decay and ancient dust, mingling with the faint odor of something far more sinister. It felt as though the very walls of the mansion were alive, pulsating with a malevolent energy that seemed to seep into my bones with each passing moment. As I moved deeper into the mansion, the darkness seemed to grow more oppressive, pressing down on me like a weight upon my shoulders. The air grew colder, and I could feel the hairs on the back of my neck standing on end as if warning me of some unseen danger lurking in the shadows. Suddenly, a voice pierced the silence, its tone low and menacing. "Who dares to trespass in my domain?" It hissed, sending a chill down my spine. I froze, my heart pounding in my chest as I scanned the darkness for any sign of movement. But there was nothing, only the empty expanse of the hallway stretching out before me like a yawning abyss. And then, from the darkness emerged a figure, its form shrouded in shadow. It moved with an unnatural grace, gliding toward me with slow, deliberate steps. As it drew closer, I could see its eyes glowing with an otherworldly light, filled with malice and hunger. It was a demon, ancient and terrible, its very presence radiating an aura of pure malevolence that seemed to suffocate the air around me. I tried to speak, to plead for mercy, but my voice caught in my throat, and I could only watch in terror as it advanced upon me. I wanted to run, to flee from this nightmare come to life, but my feet were rooted to the spot as if held in place by some unseen force. I was trapped, helpless against the relentless advance of the demon. As it drew closer, I could feel its breath hot against my skin, its gaze piercing into the very depths of my soul. I knew that I was no match for this ancient evil, and yet I couldn't bring myself to look away, transfixed by the sheer terror of its presence. And then, with a sudden burst of courage, I lashed out, throwing myself at the demon with all the strength I could muster. But it was like trying to fight against the tide, futile and hopeless. With a mocking laugh, the demon brushed me aside as if I were nothing more than a mere insect. I stumbled backward, my heart pounding in my chest as I desperately searched for an escape route. But the demon was relentless, its eyes burning with a hunger that sent shivers down my spine. I knew that I was running out of time, that soon it would be upon me, and there would be no escape from its terrible wrath. As I backed away, my foot caught on something, and I stumbled, falling to the ground with a cry of terror. I scrambled backward, my hands scrabbling against the cold stone floor as I tried to put as much distance between myself and the demon as possible. But it was no use. With a roar of rage, the demon lunged forward, its claws outstretched to claim me once and for all. I closed my eyes, bracing myself for the final blow, but it never came. Chapter 3: The Confrontation. The demon drew closer, its presence radiating an aura of pure malevolence that seemed to suffocate the very air around me. "What do you want from me?" I whispered, my voice trembling with fear. The demon's lips curled into a sinister smile, revealing rows of razor-sharp teeth that gleamed in the dim light. "You have awakened me from my slumber," it growled, its voice like the rumble of distant thunder. "Now you must pay the price." With a wave of its hand, the demon summoned tendrils of darkness that wrapped around me like chains, binding me in place as it loomed over me with baleful intent. I could feel its breath hot against my skin, its gaze piercing into the very depths of my soul. I struggled against the darkness, fighting with all my might to break free from its grasp. but the demon was too powerful, its hold on me unbreakable. I was trapped, helpless against its relentless advance. As the tendrils tightened around me, I could feel the air being squeezed from my lungs, and panic rose within me like a tidal wave. I gasped for breath, my vision swimming as darkness threatened to overtake me. But just when it seemed that all hope was lost, a flicker of something stirred within me, a spark of defiance that refused to be extinguished. With a surge of adrenaline, I pushed back against the darkness, summoning every ounce of strength I had left. To my surprise, the tendrils loosened their grip, and I fell to the ground with a thud, gasping for air as I scrambled away from the demon's reach. It watched me with cold, calculating eyes, its lips curled into a snarl of rage. "You think you can defy me?" it growled, its voice low and dangerous. "You are nothing, mortal. You cannot hope to stand against the might of a demon." But I refused to back down. With a defiant glare, I met the demon's gaze head-on, summoning every ounce of courage I had left. "I may be mortal," I said, my voice steady despite the fear that churned within me, "but I am not without power of my own, and I will not let you destroy me." For a moment, there was silence, broken only by the sound of our ragged breathing. And then, with a roar of fury, the demon lunged forward, its claws outstretched to claim me once and for all. I scrambled to my feet as I prepared to face the demon head-on. But before it could reach me, there was a sudden burst of blinding light, and I shielded my eyes against the glare. When I dared to look again, the demon was gone, vanished into thin air as if it had never been there at all. I blinked in disbelief, my mind struggling to make sense of what had just happened again. But as I stood there in the darkness, I knew one thing for certain. The demon may have been defeated for now, but its presence still lingered, a dark shadow that loomed over me like a specter of fear. And so, with a heavy heart, I gathered my resolve and prepared to face whatever horrors awaited me in the darkness. For though the demon may have been vanquished, I knew that the true battle had only just begun. Chapter 4: The Escape. As I stumbled back from the fading remnants of the demon's presence, my heart hammered in my chest like a frantic drumbeat. The air around me felt charged with residual energy, tingling against my skin like the aftershocks of a storm. I blinked rapidly, trying to clear the lingering spots from my vision, as the realization of my narrow escape sank in. The demon, for now at least, had been thwarted, but the terror it instilled in me lingered, a relentless specter that clung to the corners of my mind. For a moment, I remained frozen in place, my senses on high alert, as if expecting the demon to materialize once more from the shadows. But the mansion remained eerily quiet, the only sound the echo of my ragged breathing as it reverberated off the walls. With trembling hands, I reached out to steady myself against the nearest wall, the rough texture of the ancient stone grounding me in reality. I took a deep, shuddering breath, trying to steady my nerves as I contemplated my next move. Escape. That was the only thought that consumed my mind now. I needed to get out of this accursed mansion before the demon returned, before it had the chance to finish what it had started. With newfound determination, I forced my legs to move, each step a battle against the overwhelming sense of dread that threatened to engulf me. I retraced my path through the labyrinthine corridors, my heart pounding in my ears with each pound echoing. As I moved, I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched, the sensation of unseen eyes boring into the back of my skull. I quickened my pace, a cold sweat breaking out across my brow as I fought the rising tide of panic that threatened to overwhelm me. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, I saw it, a faint glimmer of moonlight shining through a cracked window at the end of the hallway. It was a small beacon of hope in the suffocating darkness, a reminder that there was still a world beyond these cursed walls. With renewed vigor, I pushed forward, each step bringing me closer to freedom. The air grew colder as I neared the window, the temperature dropping until I could see my breath fogging in front of me with each exhale. And then, with a final burst of effort, I reached the window, throwing it open with a desperate strength I didn't know I possessed. The cool night air rushed in to meet me, carrying with it the scent of earth and freedom. I paused for just a moment, savoring the sensation of wind against my skin, before summoning the courage to climb through the window and out into the night beyond. I landed with a soft thud on the ground below, my limbs trembling with exhaustion and relief. As I stood there in the moonlight, gazing up at the mansion looming overhead, I knew that my journey was far from over. The demon may have been vanquished, but its presence still lingered, a dark shadow that stretched across the land like a stain upon the earth. But I refused to let fear consume me. With a steely resolve, I turned away from the mansion and set off into the night, determined to put as much distance between myself and that cursed place as possible. For though the demon may have been defeated, I knew that there were other horrors waiting in the darkness, other battles yet to be fought. But as long as I remained vigilant, as long as I never lost sight of the light, I knew that I would always find a way to survive. Epilogue. As I stumbled out into the cool night air, I could feel the weight of the demon's gaze still lingering upon me, its malevolent presence haunting my every step. But I knew that I had escaped its clutches, if only for now. As I made my way back to the safety of civilization, I couldn't help but wonder what other horrors lay hidden in the darkness, waiting to be unleashed upon the world. And though I knew that I would never forget the terror I had faced that night, I also knew that I would never stop searching for the truth, no matter where it might lead me. The moon cast its silvery glow over the forest, illuminating the path before me as I stumbled through the underbrush. Every sound seemed to echo in the stillness of the night, and I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being followed. As I reached the edge of the forest, I paused for a moment, casting one last glance back at the mansion looming in the distance. Its windows were dark and empty now, but I knew that the darkness within still held untold horrors. With a shudder, I turned away and made my way back to civilization, my mind racing with thoughts of the demon that I had encountered. I knew that I had faced true evil that night, and I couldn't help but wonder what other dark forces lurked in the shadows, waiting to be unleashed upon an unsuspecting world. But despite the fear and uncertainty that lingered in my heart, I also felt a glimmer of hope. For though I had faced the demon and survived, I knew that my journey was far from over. There were still mysteries to be unraveled, and truths to be uncovered, and I was determined to face whatever horrors awaited me with courage and determination. And so, as I walked beneath the pale light of the moon, I vowed to never stop searching for the truth, no matter where it might lead me. For in the end, it was only by confronting the darkness within that I could ever hope to find the light.
Alright guys, thanks for tuning in tonight here with the Night Hawk. Tell me what you think. If you like, please comment, like, and subscribe to my channel. I will be posting another story tomorrow for you guys. And again, always remember, he's watching.